This is an audio summary of To Kill a Mockingbird, chapter by chapter. Please check the description for chapter selection. This audio summary is brought to you by Swagbucks. Earn $10 towards any gift card when you sign up with the QR code or link in the description below. Use Swagbucks to earn Swagbucks to get more gift cards for you, your friends, and your family. In fact, you can earn Swagbucks while you listen to this audio summary. Be sure to check it out. Chapter 1. This chapter introduces us to the small southern town of Macomb, Alabama, during the Great Depression. The narrator, Scout Finch, is a young girl who lives with her older brother, Jem, and their widowed father, Atticus Finch, a respected lawyer. They have a housemaid, Calpurnia, who is black and has been like a mother to the children. Scout tells us about the family's history and the town's background. We also learn about the neighborhood legend, Arthur Boo Radley, who lives in a nearby house but never comes out. Chapter 2. Scout starts her first day at school and is excited, but her day doesn't go well. Her teacher, Miss Caroline, doesn't understand the ways of Macomb and reprimands Scout for already knowing how to read. Miss Caroline also has a confrontation with Walter Cunningham, a boy from a poor family who can't afford lunch, which Scout tries to explain to Miss Caroline, leading to Scout getting in trouble. Chapter 3. Scout beats up Walter Cunningham after school out of frustration, but Jem intervenes and invites Walter home for lunch. During the meal, Scout's inability to understand Walter's habits leads to a squabble with Calpurnia. Afterward, Atticus explains the Cunningham family's financial situation to Scout, teaching her an important lesson about empathy and understanding. Chapter 4. The summer begins, and Dill returns to Macomb. Scout and Jem find a series of objects in a knothole of a tree on the Radley property, including gum and small figurines. They don't know who's leaving them, but are intrigued. They, along with Dill, spend most of the summer acting out imagined scenes from Boo Radley's life. Chapter 5. The children continue to play their Boo Radley games. Scout becomes closer with their neighbor, Miss Maudie Atkinson, who, unlike other adults, talks openly about Boo Radley. She portrays him sympathetically, challenging the children's perception of him as a monster. Chapter 6. Dill's last night in Macomb for the summer culminates in a daring attempt by the children to peek into the Radley house. A shadow emerges, frightening them away. As they escape, Jem loses his pants in the Radley's fence and leaves them behind. Chapter 7. Jem is quiet and seems to worry about something. He later reveals to Scout that when he went back to retrieve his pants, they were mended and neatly folded. They continue to find more gifts in the Radley tree knothole, further piquing their curiosity about Boo. However, their communication is cut short when the knothole is filled with cement. Chapter 8. The town experiences an unexpected cold spell resulting in a rare snowfall. Scout and Jem build a snowman that resembles their mean neighbor, Mr. Avery. That night, Miss Maudie's house catches fire, and the community rallies to help. In the chaos, Scout unknowingly receives a blanket from Boo Radley. Chapter 9. Atticus is appointed to defend Tom Robinson, a black man accused of raping a white woman, Mayella Ewell. This decision stirs up controversy in Macomb. Scout gets into fights with classmates and cousin Frances over insults against her father. Atticus explains the importance of maintaining one's conscience, even in the face of criticism. Chapter 10. In this chapter, Scout and Jem learn that their father, despite his advanced age and generally peaceful demeanor, is an excellent shot after he kills a rabid dog threatening their neighborhood. This chapter is significant as it reveals Atticus's hidden talent and introduces the idea of true courage. Chapter 11. On the way to the business district in Macomb, Scout and Jem pass by the house of Mrs. Dubose, a cantankerous old woman. After she insults their father, Jem destroys her camellia bushes in a fit of anger. As a punishment, Jem has to read to her every day. After Mrs. Dubose dies, Atticus explains her struggle with morphine addiction, teaching them about true bravery. Chapter 12. With Atticus away at work, Calpurnia takes Scout and Jem to her black church, which is a new experience for the children. They learn more about the black community's view on the Tom Robinson case and about Calpurnia's life outside their home. Chapter 13. Aunt Alexandra, Atticus's sister, arrives to provide a feminine influence for Scout and to teach her to be a lady. She also emphasizes the importance of the Finch family history, emphasizing the social hierarchy in Macomb, which is in stark contrast to Atticus's principles of equality. Chapter 14. Aunt Alexandra's presence causes tension in the household. Scout and Jem squabble, and Scout finds Dill hiding under her bed. Dill has run away from his home in Meridian, upset over feeling unwanted by his mother and new stepfather. After much discussion, Atticus allows Dill to stay. Chapter 15. Tensions rise in Maycomb as Tom Robinson's trial nears. One night, a group of men confront Atticus at home, and later at the jail, threatening his safety and Tom's. Scout, Jem, and Dill sneak out and end up at the jail, where Scout's innocent conversation with Mr. Cunningham diffuses the situation, showing the power of innocence and decency in the face of hatred. Chapter 16. The day of the trial, everyone in Maycomb heads to the courthouse. Scout, Jem, and Dill don't have seats in the courtroom, but Reverend Sykes invites them to the balcony, where the town's black citizens sit. The children gain a different perspective on their community from this new vantage point. Chapter 17. The trial begins. Atticus's cross-examination of Sheriff Hectate and Bob Ewell, Mayella's father, reveals inconsistencies in their testimonies, suggesting that Tom may not be guilty. This chapter illustrates Atticus's skills as a lawyer and his commitment to justice. Chapter 18. Mayella Ewell testifies. She tells a story that implicates Tom in the crime, but Atticus questions her story, hinting that Bob Ewell, her father, may be the true culprit. Chapter 19. Tom Robinson testifies, presenting himself as a sympathetic character who had helped Mayella out of pity and not guilty of the crime. His testimony suggests a potential relationship between Mayella and him, casting more doubt on the Ewell's claims. Chapter 20. Dill is upset by the unfair treatment of Tom and leaves the courtroom. Outside, he and Scout encounter Dolphus Raymond, a white man who lives with a black woman and has mixed children. Back in court, in his closing remarks, Atticus argues for equality and justice, emphasizing Tom's innocence. Chapter 21. The jury deliberates for a few hours before returning a guilty verdict for Tom Robinson, showcasing the deep-rooted racism in society. The black spectators in the courtroom stand in respect as Atticus exits the courtroom, symbolizing their appreciation for his efforts. Chapter 22. The aftermath of the trial is a mixed bag. Jem is disheartened by the unjust verdict, while Bob Ewell feels vindicated and spits in Atticus's face, vowing revenge. Chapter 23. Atticus discusses the possibility of an appeal for Tom. He also explains to Jem and Scout why Bob Ewell held a grudge against him. Scout learns about compromises and reflects on the nature of social class after a conversation about the Cunningham family. Chapter 24. Scout joins Aunt Alexandra's missionary circle meeting, a group of ladies discussing the plight of a tribal group in Africa, while ignoring the racial disparities in their own town. They also criticize Atticus's defense of Tom. Scout struggles to reconcile their hypocrisy. Chapter 25. September arrives, and Dill goes back to his family in Meridian. Tom Robinson is shot and killed while trying to escape prison, underscoring the tragedy of racial injustice. Meanwhile, Bob Ewell makes ominous threats, suggesting potential danger to the Finch family. Chapter 26. During Scout's third year in school, her teacher, Miss Gates, condemns the Holocaust in Europe while expressing racist views about the black community in Maycomb. Scout is confused by this contradiction, and her respect for her teacher diminishes. Chapter 27. As Halloween approaches, there are several mysterious incidents around Maycomb, including Bob Ewell getting a job and promptly losing it, and an attempted burglary at Judge Taylor's house. Bob Ewell also harasses Helen, Tom Robinson's widow, showing his continued resentment and threatening demeanor. Chapter 28. On Halloween night, Scout and Jem are attacked by an unidentified man while returning from the school pageant. Jem is knocked unconscious, and Scout's ham costume saves her from harm. In the confusion, another man rescues the children and carries Jem home. Chapter 29. Scout gives her account of the attack to the sheriff, Hectate, and realizes that their rescuer was Boo Radley. She also learns that the attacker was Bob Ewell, who is now dead. Chapter 30. Atticus and Hectate argue over the cause of Bob Ewell's death. Heck insists that Bob fell on his own knife, protecting Boo Radley from being thrust into the public eye and demonstrating his understanding of Boo's reclusive nature. Chapter 31. Scout walks Boo Radley home and imagines how he has been watching over them, experiencing their lives from his perspective. When she returns home, Scout reflects on the events of the past few years. She and Atticus sit for a while before she goes to bed, ending the novel with a sense of peace and closure. Summary of the book. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee is a coming-of-age story set in 1930s Alabama. It follows Scout Finch, her brother Jem, and their father Atticus, and how their lives change after Atticus is appointed to defend Tom Robinson, a black man accused of rape. The book explores themes of racial inequality, social class, morality, and understanding. It offers insights into the dangers of ignorance and prejudice, and the possibility of empathy and understanding. The book's importance in society and culture, To Kill a Mockingbird, holds a significant place in American literature and culture. It not only addresses the raw realities of racism and prejudice in the mid-20th century American South, but also provides timeless lessons about empathy, integrity, and human dignity. It encourages readers to question and challenge societal norms and injustices. Despite being set in a specific historical context, the themes it explores remain relevant today, making it a powerful and essential read for all ages.